Hey everyone, Jay Whitner here with Space Headlines. We do a quick recap every week of what's going on in space, and today we're going to be talking about the second week of November 2018. Our first item is Vector Aerospace. They had a big month last month. They closed down a $70 million capital raise. So Jim Cantrell is obviously quite pleased with that. He recently gave an interview. He talked a little bit about the company and so forth. And Vector Aerospace, it's based in Arizona, and their goal is to launch small satellites. And it's a very competitive environment right now. There's roughly 40 different companies that want to design, build, and deploy rockets to launch small satellites. But Jim Cantrell is quite confident, and he has a big entrepreneurial space history. So if anybody can do it, he's the guy. Cape Canaveral had a victory. The Cape Canaveral spaceport got a launch license from the FAA for launching horizontally out at the Cape Kennedy. So the infrastructure mostly is already there because they have a giant landing strip from the space shuttle days. It's 15,000 feet long and plenty of property there for the elbow room that rockets demand. So this is a long time coming. It was 3 years and several $1 million invested by Space Florida to secure this license from the FAA. And there are already several players that are potential customers for this. And in the future, there'll be a lot more. But already we have Pegasus, we have Stratolaunch, we have a couple of different ventures. The Virgin Galactic is the Launcher 1 and Spaceship 2. And that's just the existing players that are already very developed. So this will be a big thing for the spaceport down at Cape Canaveral. And it really gives them a full service situation. That anything you want to launch, we can launch it here in Florida. The Electron rocket launch, the first commercial launch of this rocket, was successful. They had one launch previously that was a test launch, but this is the first Rocket Lab commercial launch that was successful. It was launched in New Zealand, and it's a two-stage rocket. It carried a half a dozen small satellites up into orbit, and they're hoping to do a lot of flights. They're planning to fly again in about a month. So congratulations to Rocket Lab. We are currently in the process of checking out 2 asteroids that are worth combined $83 billion per the estimates. NASA is checking out one of the asteroids with the OSIRIS-REx mission, and JAXA is checking out the other one with their Hayabusa 2 mission. The JAXA probe is already at its asteroid, and the OSIRIS-REx probe that NASA has launched is going to close in on asteroid Bennu on December the 3rd. So this is a very big step because we're going to have sample return from these 2 asteroids brought back to Earth for analysis. So there's a lot of value here in terms of scientific discovery and also paving the way for future asteroid mining. The Falcon 9 rocket made a nice step forward by being certified by NASA for critical science missions. The rocket that we're talking about is the Falcon 9 Block 5. That's what all future launches are projected to be using is the Block 5 version. So far, the Block 5 has had half a dozen successful flights with no problems. And the Falcon 9 family, throughout its history, has a 98% success rate. So it's been a fantastically reliable rocket. And congratulations to SpaceX and the Falcon 9 for being able to launch now any NASA science payload. We have an interesting payload headed for the space station, and there's a lot of items in this shipment to the space station, 7,500 pounds of experiments and supplies for the space station. The one that really caught my eye was the refabricator. So any plastic waste on the space station, this thing can take that waste and make it into filament for use by a 3D printer. So there's a lot of plastic waste on the space station, so they can now repurpose that and make things out of packaging materials and so forth. Another item on this supply run that caught my eye was an experiment sponsored by the Michael J. Fox Foundation, and this is about Parkinson's. It's a crystal experiment to learn about possible cures for Parkinson's. So this launch is an Antares rocket, and I'll be really curious to see how the refabricator works out, because that could be a nice step forward for recycling in space. Our last story this week is a super Earth was discovered. This is orbiting nearby Barnard star. And of course, nearby in astronomy terms is a slippery concept, but it's only 6 light years away. So this is the second closest star system to Earth. And this planet is roughly 3 times the size of Earth. And the way they detected this was called the radial velocity method. So if you can visualize a planet going around a star, the star wobbles a little bit from the gravitational pull of the planet. And they detect that wobble, and that tells them that there's a planet there. So we've got some neighbors. That's it for Space Headlines for the second week of November 2018. Hope you enjoyed our show. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and we'll see you in a week or so. Take care.